Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Think Different podcast. This is not the first take, ladies and gentlemen. This is the second take because I don't know how to press buttons, and we are here for the 50th episode. And if you put that Roman numerals, the letter L, that's right, it's episode L here at the Think Different podcast. But I am Frank Funkless this week because I have a substitute. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. He's back from his 1 month or 2 month vacation. It is Vacation Tim. Vacation Tim, welcome back, sir.
Hello. I'm glad to be back. Thanks for the invite. Yeah, I'm excited to record tonight. It's Wednesday. You know, almost a holiday weekend. So this is an exciting episode. It
is going to be a very exciting episode because in the thumbnail, I put down I had breaking news. I'm going to let people know that right before I do that, though. We do have some special guests here today for the Think Different podcast. Former Apple employees that used to work at Apple. They used to be, I believe, family room specialist or service specialist, also geniuses. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome to the show Zeke and Rachel. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hey, guys.
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
No problem, guys. Now, since this is the first time you're on the show, just give us a brief rundown of your Apple experience and what role you did.
I was there for about 5.5 years between a couple different stores. I was an expert and then a tech expert, and then kind of jumped into a different company after that. But yeah, I was there 5.5 years from Bridgewater. Then in January, went to Quaker Bridge.
I was there for 7 years. I started as a specialist, ended up as a genius, did almost everything. Went pro, went genius. Yeah, jumped around a lot. It was a good time.
Wait, so you never were a service specialist?
No, I went straight from pro to genius.
Wow, that's very rare that you see that. Very rare that you see that. I mean, even Tim, he was a genius admin, he couldn't make genius.
I didn't want to be a genius.
That's true. I know you didn't. But I wanted to start this episode with breaking news coming from this guy right here. That's right. So for many, many years, it's been a difficult journey, but I finally am happy to announce that me and the wifeys are having a baby.
Oh my God. Congratulations.
Congrats.
That is so exciting.
Yes, I am very, very happy. She is 3 months pregnant as of this taping. So we have been super excited, trying really, really hard. It's been a difficult journey to get to this point. Our expected date is going to be around the end of December, beginning of January. I got to make that tax cut, so we got to make it December 31st. We have to claim our baby and make money. So that's all so I'm telling my wife, you got to push a little bit harder to make sure this happens quicker. And as of next week, we will know the gender. I will be doing a gender reveal that will be online for people to check out on our YouTube page, on our Think Different Podcast YouTube page. So I open up with a fantastic news. It has been a great journey, and I'm just so excited to say that I could be Papa TLD, and the D now stands for Dad.
Congrats. Well, that's awesome, man.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
For both you and Tara.
Appreciate it. Forget her. All right, so let's get to the more important news of this week, more important than the announcement of a baby that's coming on my way, and that is the Microsoft stores are closing. And I'm going to break down a little bit about what they announced. So they are going to be giving up on physical retail. They plan that they are going to reimagine 4 locations in New York City, London, Sydney, and the Redmond campus location as not actual stores, but experience centers. All other stores are going to be closing as of, they're not opening up anymore, basically. They said they were going to be doing this for about a year. They said they were going to do it originally next year, but they decided to do it now. And, this was pretty breaking news. They have been open since 2009. They introduced it, and they basically copied Apple Store. If you went to an Apple store and a Microsoft store, which, by the way, were always near each other, they were always next to each other, which was really annoying. They were very similar in what they did. They offered service, they offered products, they offered everything. And, they were just as experienced as we were in the store, but it was just one was made of wood with big screens, and the other one was just a steel building. So Tim, you must have read about this announcement. I would love to know what your thoughts were when you heard about the Microsoft Store closing.
I'm not surprised that they're closing. I'm not a Microsoft user at all, but when I was a kid, I would run into those stores because it was interesting. They had the store, which was never really inviting, but then they also occupied the space in front of their store. So they either had like the TV. I only remember from the Freehold Mall.
Yes, yep.
But they had like the giant TVs that were like back to back, and it demonstrated one kind of VR game, and the other side demonstrated, at the time it was probably like Guitar Hero or Rock Band or whatever. So that was cool. Like it tries to intrigue you to get into the store by not having you actually step in the store. So you're still kind of interacting with their products. And then as of recently, I went to go check out their VR experiences. But other than that, I never bought anything from their store. I never really talked to anybody. It just wasn't something that I was very interested in. And how do they compete with like stores like Best Buy, Walmart, Target? They sell the exact same products, probably for cheaper. So, and they still demonstrate them at those storefronts anyway. So really, the point of the Microsoft Store was not very, advantageous. Like you go to an Apple store because you go there for the experience, for the products, to talk to people that are around the products at all times. But I'd rather go to Best Buy to talk about Microsoft products than the Microsoft Store.
Yeah, I'm going to bring up a point with that in a second, but Zeke and Rachel, what were you guys' thoughts on that store closing, on all those stores closing?
I was shocked. I kind of figured it would happen at some point in time, but I didn't think it would happen so soon. Only because, like, granted, they were always dead, but, like, they did randomly have, like, their little events. I mean, they were cute, but it was never a big hit. But
I was familiar with the one in Freehold because I went there once to work at that Apple store, so I knew that they was there. But the one in Bridgewater, I would kind of walk around the mall, do my normal lunch routine, and kind of see it, but it was never something that I felt like, oh, I want to go in. I checked out the VR, I think once as an experience, and that was pretty cool. But I think to your partner's point, like there was nothing really that drew me in, and it's funny that like there would be things there that I would find maybe already available, like at the Apple store, like you said, like at another retailer that was probably cheaper, or maybe just had like a different version that that was a little bit more up to date or something.
Well, I will tell you, the main reason I went to the store was they did have some amazing deals on Black Friday for Xboxes. There was, for me, that was one of the biggest things I went to them for. So I traded in my old Xbox. I got a new one. I got like a longer warranty with it. So there was a purpose for me to go to the Microsoft store for when they had really good deals and when I had to get service done, when I had to get my controller fixed, when I had my Xbox was having a weird issue that ended up just magically working when I got there. Of course it does. And that was the main reason I went there. I've always passed by the Freehold one. The store is nice. The people that work there seemed to like working there. It didn't seem like no one was hating working there. But again, the purpose of going there is what's exclusive that they have there that no other spot has. But anybody could say that about Apple too, though. Like, what does Apple have that a Microsoft store didn't do for their customers? So I have to ask that. Tim, you explained that you could go to a Best Buy, but you could do the same thing with Apple, can't you?
No, I mean, inventory-wise, well, I didn't know this prior to working at Apple, that Apple had more inventory on the iPhones and all their products than the other retailers. But, if you're trying to go get the, when the iPhone 12 comes out, if you're trying to get the iPhone 12, you're not going to go to Verizon or Best Buy on launch day to go get it because they're most likely already going to be out of stock of the products because they only get a limited shipment, where the Apple Store, in turn, really has a large assortment of products on hand that you could buy either, not tied to a contract, or you could buy and finance it. So I apologize. My dog is pooping in the house.
Well,
I'm training a dog right now, so I have to attend to this. But I don't even.
Only on
mind is
episode
a
50
million
of the
miles an
Think
hour
Different
right now.
podcast. All right. Well, let Tim go. Tim,
yeah.
finish your point. Okay, he's gone. All right. So last thing, Zeke and Rachel, tell me, like again, if you're buying an Apple product, you could go online and buy it. You go to Best Buy and buy it. What is it that draws people to an Apple store?
I think it's the support. I mean, I think it's the entire piece of it, from the time that people walk in and figure out what they want or maybe what they don't want, to finding something that they didn't know that they needed or know that they wanted, or that would help them maybe like go through life easier. I mean, the biggest thing is pictures.
I think it was for me, I think it was like more or less the people. Because people, a lot of times they would smile when they came in. Like, I feel like I never got the same experience at the Microsoft store. Like, it was never as inviting. It was big and open, but it wasn't warm and welcoming. And that was like, for me, that was a big difference.
I thought what was funny too was like they stole the lanyard idea. Like they blatantly wore lanyards. The colors were, even though they had different colors, they had the same kind of polo tops. I mean, they could wear jeans just like we could wear jeans. There really, wasn't much of a difference. I don't even know if they physically repaired Xboxes or anything there. I don't know if they did or if they sent them out. Do you know what they repaired or did anything there?
I think it was just their computers.
Mm-hmm.
And they did like software troubleshooting for their computers. That was pretty much it.
Right. Yeah, that's all I've ever done in a Microsoft store. Now, it's funny, I still pass by the New York one every morning from the bus stop. I will be curious to go check out that store once it's reimagined and what they are going to figure out what that's going to be like. But yeah, honestly, Microsoft stores were a real waste of space, and they copied Apple because they saw what happened in 2001. They didn't think no one thought Apple retail would be as big as it is, but definitely the experience made the difference, where I think Microsoft tried to throw so much at everybody, like, here, play with this, play with this, play with that. And I don't think Apple is extremely subtle. Not to mention there's less options, I think. So that's my opinion.
Less options at Apple or less options at Microsoft?
There's less options at Apple. I think there's too many options at like, everything was just all over the place. And I just felt like it was just too out there. It was too in your face. They had the video walls. They had the video walls. They had Xbox. Like I said, they did have some really good deals on Black Friday. That was the only time I ever went there, or if they had a really, really good deal. Beyond that, I never really went there. But I will miss that support for my Xbox. That I will miss. I think I won't be able to get that back. But let's shift our focus to WWDC. Now, Tim, hey, be quiet.
Reese, come on.
Reese.
Be quiet.
Reese, you are in timeout. Go to the corner. Go into the corner, Reese. All right. So
sorry, she's just like in the playpen staring at me.
It's all right. People love hearing dog noises on their podcast. It's cool. So for WWDC, Zeke and Rachel, what were your thoughts on what you saw that they came out with that you really liked?
I'm a big organization guy, so honestly, the whole new layout is a big, thumbs up for me. I like the app library. That's one of the things that drew me out right from the get.
Yeah. I like the iPad OS, to be honest with you. I like it changed. It looks so much better. The whole scripting was a big thing for me, because I'm like, why would I get an iPad Pro if not everything I write down, like on the tabs and everything with my iPad pencil, why isn't it automatically transition into text for me?
Now, for Rachel, only you would understand this probably, because Big Sur is going to have the startup chime again, which was a humongous helpful tip for geniuses when we need to know if the computer was turning on.
Absolutely. I never really stood what was the big deal with them taking it away, but I guess you never realized the bill was gone.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the chime was a significant feature. They changed a lot of the sounds, like for trash, and the Apple Silicone was a big deal too. So what were your thoughts on the Apple Silicone?
That's completely different. Like the fact that you're talking about the processing chip, right?
Correct.
Yeah, the fact that they're gonna have to transition all their computers to that processing chip, to me is it's super insane. It makes a huge difference now. It's proprietary.
Correct. Tim, what were your thoughts on WWDC? What were some of the things you liked?
I like the app drawer. That's pretty cool. I'm not a huge fan of widgets, but I'll be interested to kind of play with which apps design widgets for the OS and which don't. So that'll be kind of neat to play with. Um, the what else? Oh, the pinned conversations thing and inline replies. That's going to be kind of neat to play with. And the at mentions. It's kind of like Slack. I don't know if you guys use
Right.
Slack for
Yep.
your work. But it's totally like Slack and iMessage, which can be annoying and also can be very useful to kind of find conversations. But in my opinion, I think the search bar at the top of the messages does everything that I need. So I don't really know if I'll ever use the feature, but it's definitely kind of cool to see, how iMessage can evolve. The Translate app that's being built into it, that's pretty cool. I think right now it's only supporting 11 languages, but that's pretty dope. And I wonder if they're going to have, I don't know if they covered in the keynote or not, if they're going to have AirPods support with that. If they're able to use the microphone for the AirPod, I guess that's possible, right?
I wouldn't see a reason why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was what was cool about those Google Pods that came out, that you can put those in and then it translates it in your ear.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, I'm hoping that that's exactly what it's going to do. I mean, maybe not yet. I mean, at least the good thing about that it's offline, so you don't have to rely on the internet for that to work, which I think is a very important feature right now, especially if you're traveling. Now I wouldn't have to borrow Rachel to do all my Genius conversations for people I don't understand who's talking Spanish.
Yeah, seriously, I just saw as soon as they said that, and like I was like, that's going to be in the stores. They're gonna put an iPhone just for that, like for the table. Why?
I'm surprised for Speak and Translate. They didn't give us something for free to start off with. The fact that it would, because I've had full conversations with someone in Spanish using Google Translate or using Speak and Translate. I'm shocked that they just don't give that to us.
I always ask for it. I'm like, it would help people at least, or even just random questions people would ask you all the time. Like, what are they saying? Like,
Right.
This question, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, they would have to borrow you guys to borrow. That happens a lot in Apple stores, by the way. If you're coming in and you speak a different language, be prepared to wait a little longer because you have to get someone that speaks it. But if they encourage us to use iOS 14, I think that'd be very helpful for them to use that in the store. It might make your conversation a little longer, but right now we're not really having any conversations because no one's even in the store right now. Now, Rachel and Zeke, did you guys hear about what they're doing at the stores now?
From what I understood, I mean, I know with like repairs, they're doing like sort of like a curbside thing, like sort of, I guess, picking up your phone and taking it. I don't know full details. I mean, I haven't talked to a few Apple friends in a little bit, but I know something along a repair process where like you brought your phone outside and they bring it in for you and get disinfected and something along those lines.
Yeah, I actually did the curbside thing with my sister last weekend before the malls even opened. It was actually super cool. It was a good experience, but like they were supposed to open up. They were supposed to use carts. So the rolling carts that you typically would use, they would put. Let's say a customer came for a pickup, they're gonna put it at one end of the roller, and roll it out to the floor. Have the customer essentially like put it in the bag and like give it like so this way they can keep that social distance.
Wow. Okay.
They're taking extreme measures and cautions. They're even splitting the teams. So
right.
The teams, what they're doing is they're splitting the teams in half. So no one's meant to ever work on. So if you're on Team A or Team B, you will never like work with anyone from a different team, just in case one person gets infected, the whole other team's able to take effect.
Yeah, that's correct. That's exactly what I heard about it. And as far as repair room, they have to wear a mask while they're in the repair room, which has got to stink. That's got to stink. So I'm hoping that things will get back to normal here. It's been a very interesting time since we've not worked in a retail store, but I gotta tell you, it's kind of great that we don't have to kind of work in that kind of environment, though, which would be really strange for us.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so we're going to transition now because since Rachel and Zeke haven't been here before, we're going to talk about some of the ups and downs of working for Apple. Tim, you've talked about it before, but some people who haven't maybe seen you before or talked about you before, talked about some of the ups that you like working for Apple.
It's definitely the people and the people that you work with. I'm not saying the customers, but I'm saying the people that you work with. It's almost like you're working with 60 or 80 of your friends just because of how friendly and down to earth a lot of the Apple employees are. just in the nature of what they're looking for, to who to hire and stuff like that. So everyone really gets along. And
almost
so
everybody. Almost everybody.
Yeah. So I always look forward going to work. There was never, a dull day, especially, me transitioning from specialist to operations specialist, then to Genius admin. My head was always on a swivel. I always had to be 4 places at once. But, it was always great. You always had the backing of your team and stuff like that. So I always loved that. The discounts on the products were fantastic, especially around the holiday season. I probably put it as a number one reason. I forgot that I didn't even mention it, but the stock options are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you get a discount on the price of the stock, and then you also get the free $1,000 worth of stocks as well. So, that was just a no-brainer, and it was just an absolute awesome benefit. I never took advantage of the health benefits just because I was part-time and I was still on my parents' plan, but I've heard they're amazing. I heard a lot of people just want to work there just for the benefits, because you can get it as a part-timer. But yeah, those are really great reasons why you'd want to work at Apple, along with just having Apple on your resume. I know it's a conversation opener for you to get into the door of other companies you'd want to work at, or start your career somewhere. They see Apple on your resume and they really want to start that conversation. They know where you came from. They know kind of qualities of people that have worked there. So you get already a good rep before even entering the room.
Yeah, very, very good thought. Zeke and Rachel, what were your some of the ups that you guys liked about working for Apple?
So I agree with everything that Tim said, to be honest with you. So people, for the most, your coworkers are your family. Having been there 7 years, for me, it was even when I left one store after 5 years, I remember crying leaving, and it wasn't because I was leaving the job. I was I feel like I was leaving my family. The health benefits, to be honest with you, I never realized were that good until leaving Apple. To be working there in your early 20s and not realize every time you go to the doctor, you're oh, it's fine, I pay a $20 copay, but there's people in the world that don't have that luxury. And working for a company that legit cares about humans, even to this day, everything you ever read about the company, they care about mankind, and it's just being behind a good mission always makes you feel better about what you do every day. So for me, those were the big ups.
Yeah, honestly, picking back off of all that, because obviously we know how big of a tech giant they are, and how much they do for the world, which I always love. For me, I always feel like it was just a big journey, but a memorable journey that helped, grew me. Obviously helped me meet the woman I'm about to marry and everything like that. But meeting so many good people, learning so many different things about the people I helped, and just learning different things about myself throughout the entire journey was just probably my favorite part about it. And you never forget those people. We're still on a call right now. And it's about those people that I think that you meet there that really makes it special. But working there was truly a game changer. I feel like I was at college, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
And we have to talk about that since I was going to leave it to the end. But how did you two meet in the Apple Store? Who was in what role?
So I was.
Who? Oh, there's a story behind this. Okay, good. That's good.
Was I an expert yet?
Nah, I think I was coming in as part-time.
Yeah.
She was a full-time specialist going for an expert role.
Yeah, and we were just really cool. We were just friends. I remember I was part of his training, kind of. You shadowed me for a bit, and then we were friends for a good while.
Yeah.
And then we started dating.
It helped, I guess, because we were more, I grew up in Carteret, more North Jersey, near Jersey City, Elizabeth area. She grew up in Linden.
The town over.
So we were more in that area anyway, so we just were likely to hang out. And after a long time of just learning about each other, we're oh, you're actually pretty cool. And from there led to be us trying to hide our relationship for a little bit, and the management was you guys,
all great Apple relationships.
Yeah, you guys date. It's obvious.
That's the thing. There's so many couples at Apple.
Yes, you would be shocked.
You tell everybody, and then God forbid it goes wrong, or you have to explain yourself to your entire staff.
I've been in that situation myself. I've seen other couples that they break down at work, and that you see that interaction where they were together, now they're not. But you'd be surprised how many people did, end up getting married that used to work at Apple. Like
I've seen people. I've heard stories about people getting proposed at Apple stores, which I've never seen, but I've heard.
Well, that did happen to somebody in Freehold, and they ended up getting divorced. So let's just say.
That was not true. That is not
I think it was somewhere around like the kids' table.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's definitely an up. You guys are about to get married, so I guess it's not an up. It's an up right now. We'll see if it becomes a down later on. So let's talk about some of the downs. So I can tell you the number one reason everyone's going to say right now. Zeke, Rachel, tell me the number one reason why people don't like working at Apple is?
I don't know, man. God, you put me on the spot there.
I could tell you.
There has to be one thing. Vacation Tim knows this.
I would
schedule.
I would say my work-life balance. Yeah.
The inconsistency of my damn life. Like,
yes.
Yeah, that's it.
I was basically going to say not having the weekends off, but yes, inconsistencies of your schedule. Yes.
Yeah, pretty much that. I feel like we all said it at once. So, like, I think we can all agree that, like, work-life balance was super important for me. Not getting home super late and being like, I have to get ready for tomorrow and kind of, like, anticipate.
Closing it up.
Yeah, just trying to work your life around your schedule. But that one wasn't tough.
Or, like, having to request off 2 weeks in advance just to be told, nah, JK, you can't.
The biggest reason for me when it comes to that is having that work-life balance, as you said, having the weekends off, having a set schedule every day. You don't get that in the retail store environment. You can't. I mean, you could definitely request days off. The one thing about being there longer than 5 years was you got more vacation time and you got more sick time. And I was there 10 years, so I got 3 weeks vacation working at Apple. So I could request off a lot of days if I needed to, and I did because I was a wedding videographer. The days off, I was working. So it's not like I was taking off for the hell of it. I was either taking off for weddings or wrestling, and that was it. So Tim, any other downsides another downside I would say too is there's not much room to grow when you're inside the retail side of the environment. It's if you don't want to be a manager or you don't want to have that kind of job, then it really is going to hurt you to do that.
Yeah, I was going to mention that exact thing. But other than that, I mean, is it weird to say the customers? Like, I love...
Yeah, you can say customers.
I love the customers, and then I also didn't love the customers at the same time. I mean, there was some where you just would love to help them, and you could probably talk to them all day. But then there's some where it's like, I just can't. There was a ceiling to how many password resets that I had to do to people's Gmails and Yahoo's accounts that would put me over edge and would make me want to quit on the spot. Yeah. That was just awful, and there's nothing really you can do, because Apple, from Will working there for 10 years and me working there for a short time, we saw a transition where they were really trying to. When the Apple Store started, they wanted as many people in the store as possible. You had the one-to-ones, you had all these trainings, and you had, everyone has to come and buy at Apple. All the service was done at Apple, all the repairs were done at Apple. But now, as the years gone by, they're now trying to push all the services out of the store. So there's no more one-to-one. You can ship your phone from home and ship it to Depot automatically. You don't need to come in the store. You can ship your Mac out from home. You don't need to come in with your Apple Watch. Your Beats you could ship from home. If you need to troubleshoot your Apple ID, that typically was done in the store and now it's done over the phone, they won't even take your appointment in the store anymore. They'll transition you to Apple Care support. So it's interesting to see the entire change of what happened, but because the change happened doesn't mean that people are going to stop coming to the store. And so you still get those kind of customers that it's very hard to educate the people that don't know how to be educated. And that makes it very difficult for you to do your job. And they want to come to the Apple Store because they believe they're going to get that experience for them to educate you about how to use your products, stuff like that. But it's very hard when there's a learning barrier and a learning curve and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and you don't get paid enough to do that.
Yeah, that's true. You don't have to, like, and also it's amazing how much you become a therapist for some people.
Yep.
Yeah.
It really is amazing how you have to go in between two people that are fighting, or they saw something like, why is my text message from my daughter coming to my phone? I saw the nude, things like that. I gotta ask though, Rachell and Zeke, do you guys have a story, a really good Apple story from working in the store of a customer that you just you hated?
I mean, I could definitely say, I mean, to sum it up for me, that if I could have a downside to it sometimes, I would say that the whole thing felt like it was a big exertion. Like, it was very stimulating, because as soon as you walk into an Apple store, it's very high intense, especially when you're on the working side of it, whether you're on a queue or whether you're helping people on a sales queue and you're looking to help people. By the time you're done and you get a 15, you're like, man, how much time just passed? And you realize it's only like 2 hours. So like, it's definitely but I think one of the moments that almost pushed me was literally on kind of like the last, I think, 2 weeks of me trying to go, and again, like, you're trying to Tim's point, answer people's questions. There's certain things that you can kind of explain to them without them understanding it, or whether they want to believe you. And this guy was kind of I think he just kept saying, like, show me the data, and he wanted to look at like something like an internal document for like the troubleshooting steps, and it was something that I had to just explain to him, like, hey, you can't really, like, it's not like you don't have access to it, like, you don't,
It's not customer facing.
yeah, and it was just like, show me the data. I used to work in IT, and it was just like one of those points where I was like, I'm almost done with this place, like, I could just like walk out or tell them off and just get fired, but like, I didn't want to do that. But that was really rough. You know? I was just like at that point where I was like, this doesn't matter.
Yeah, for me, like, it was, I love the experience, and like the customers to me were like a blessing and a curse, because like, as much as I love, like, to Will's point, being a therapist and like helping people out, some people like just can't be helped because they can't help themselves. So like, I had this guy, like, I want to say probably like 6 months into being into the Quaker Bridge, and he comes in and he shows me the back of his phone that's cracked, and I'm like, well, okay, like, it's gonna be, you have Apple Care or whatever, it's like $29 or $100 to get it replaced, and like, he just didn't accept that he broke it. And I was like, well, what happened? And he's like, well, I threw it on my granite countertop. Like, 1 + 1 is 2, right? Like, broke it. This is how much to fix it. And we probably spent like 40 minutes just literally with me, like, stone cold, and I wasn't even trying to be mean. I'm just like, you're stupid and I feel bad for you, but like, I just want to explain this to you. And it just wasn't going through. And I think for me, that's just like, that was probably like 15% of it. Of the experience. 1 + 1 is 2, but not everyone thinks so. Like,
now I'm shocked that you guys haven't said that the biggest down working for Apple, the battery program.
Oh, well, yeah, but I like to forget about that.
Well, we've talked about that with us before, but Rachel, you guys were in a different store at the time when you guys were doing it. So I know were you guys helping out with any of the battery repairs at the time?
Yeah, so that's kind of how I transitioned into tech expert. I was really trying to like switch it up. I almost actually left Apple at that point, and I was an expert, and I kind of just figured I'd try something different, but something told me to stay. And right then and there, the battery program came up. I was helping them do like SNRs and RFPs and setting up repairs for it. And I just started eventually taking appointments, and then that led to a position coming up. So repairing them was pretty fun at first, like getting used to them. And
it was like
it became like tiresome, and queue times went up, and then like the pressure on you was like, all right, we got to get all these appointments done. Hey, can you squeeze more in? And it's like already past closing, and you're like, oh man, like I got to start at opening tomorrow.
Like we were talking like 3-hour waits at Quaker Bridge at one point, even 3.5. It got that high.
But those were like the glory days. I feel like that was like 300 days where like you fought through like so many battles, and you're like, go through it still.
No, you're so right. But I mean, there was one morning, I was an admin at the time. And there was one morning where I had to count. You had to count all the batteries, and then for cycle counts, like allocation counts, you had to count the batteries, and you had to count it a second time. So I counted 2,500 batteries, and then had to count 2,500 batteries again. in one more. I was expecting to get that done before we opened at 9 a.m. Whatever it was. It was nuts.
Yeah, admin's had a rough go on the battery programs. Honestly, that was a lot. We needed a lot of help for that, and Apple definitely wasn't ready for that. They did. Honestly, the system the way it is now is set up because of that battery program. So we have that to thank. We also were better at taking notes down, I think, because of that battery program. So there definitely was some plus sides of what ended up happening with it. But at the end of the day, if you talk about a downtime working for the company, I would go all the way back to the iPhone 5 sleep wake button when we started doing loaners for the first time. That was just one of the worst programs because we had to do so many it took 40 minutes to get one loaner out. And it was just a very annoying process to get loaners and to return them. So I hated that program. I think battery program was worse because it affected the whole store.
Yeah, it did.
Everybody, we had to pull specialists. We had to pull outside people to come in and work for us. That's how bad it was.
Oh, man, ours were kind of terrible.
Yeah, they all were terrible. They all were terrible. They all were. Yeah. So.
I forget, some guy carved with a screwdriver onto the ESD mat, and we were like, "What are you doing?" And he wasn't there for too much longer.
Yeah.
Steel headphones?
Yeah, we had one. I don't want to go into it.
No.
I mean, this guy, I don't know. He was one of the guys who was one of them starting trouble and just kind of thinking he could do whatever. And he ended up getting caught, I guess, at the end of the night for trying to shoplift a pair of just some AirPods.
Oh my
EarPods?
God!
Sorry, not the AirPods, the $30 ones.
Oh yeah.
And he was a contractor one. So
Tim, if you remember the person in the room that kept talking about how she was raped, that was an interesting one.
I thought she was she sees ghosts or something like that, right?
Yeah, that too. She was also a paranormal kind of girl.
Yeah.
She was very big into paranormal, and then she was talking about how she got raped or something like that. It's very
the story, yeah.
Yeah. So wild. Yeah. So what ultimately left for Rachel and Zeke? What ultimately left you guys leaving Apple? Now you left at the same exact time, right? Because you guys are a couple. You do that.
Rachel would like to think that she. Oh man, I could go on for that all day. No, so for me, honestly, it was kind of coming to the store looking to grow into a genius spot. My whole store, because it closed down, was already in a predicament that I didn't know how long I was willing to wait for that, literally. And so I just started to look for other opportunities. And the last week of July, we had been on vacation. I had lucked out and got a job with Kronos as a support engineer. And then from there, it was just boom, okay. I proposed to her, and then literally a little bit afterwards, she applied and got her job. And then I guess she left Apple too.
For me, I think I left 2-3 months after you.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
A couple months after.
But ultimately for me, it was a big growth thing. I wanted to know, I knew at some point I wanted to kind of get a family going and look for a house, and
we wanted to get family going.
Yeah.
Ooh, see, it begins, everybody. This is where it all started on the Think Theory podcast.
I can't. Every conversation I have now is plural, so I keep forgetting that.
Yeah, you better watch it. You're gonna be in a lot of trouble. Now, end of the day, one of the things I hate about someone like you, Rachel, you were around when geniuses used to go out to campus, right?
Yeah.
And now you didn't go out to campus for your genius training.
Oh, I got stuck behind a computer for a couple weeks.
Yeah,
that sucks. Oh well. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I got to do that twice as a creative and a genius. I got to go out twice.
For the tech experts too, because I wanted to repair screens out there. I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
Broke my heart.
Yeah. Oh well. Times have changed, but honestly, it was a lot of money to send people out there just for.
Yeah.
I mean,
think about how much money they spend on your career experience and sending you out and everything that they do for us. That's a lot.
And that's an up too. The career experiences were another good up, but honestly, there weren't enough of them out there, and you had to be good at a very specific task it to.
It's 1 in a million, Mike.
Yeah, it really is.
The training's just as good because I still didn't invent the battery, so I'm grateful enough that it got me there.
Mm-hmm. Training was good until the little thing that you had the simulation they had to go through didn't work. You click on a computer, this. Click on a little screw, and I'm like, I'm trying to click it, bro. It's your system.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that thing was annoying. Or you didn't know when you had to drag the circle over the part. It was, their training system kind of bites. I really wish they did like a live person. I think it would be much better to do it live. But also back in campus, we got to repair computers that were older. So that's another advantage, that you get to work on older machines. So that's what I liked about it too. But would all you guys return working for Apple at some point if you had to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I get old and like retire and I just want to work for fun, I'll do it.
That's the Frank Funk. That's the Frank Funk.
That's exactly what I would do as well.
I would actually agree with everybody. I would go work there part time. I would do the Frank Funk style. I'll work there my last 10 years of my work life and then retire. And that's good. And because so I really I do miss working for Apple. I miss hanging out with you guys. That was definitely the thing. I don't get do that anymore with where I work. I work too far away from everybody, so it's really impossible to get together with everybody. But we hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Rachel, Zeke, any last words before marriage?
Thanks for believing.
Now, for those who don't know, since I do wedding videography, they have asked me, they've hired me to do their wedding video, which I'm proud. I cannot wait to be a part of that. And Tim would love to go, but he's probably going on vacation, right?
Yeah. Probably. I'm already there. I'm on vacation right now.
That's right. See? He's already in the Bahamas right now, just enjoying a sip of Mai Tai with his dog, who won't stop talking. Tim, we appreciate you coming back to the show. How did it feel to be back for the first time in a couple months?
It was good. It was a little weird. I'm not on my usual setup, but no, it's been fun. I love talking about this stuff. So.
And that's why he quit. All right, everybody, we want to thank you very much for joining us on this episode. Rachel, Zeke, thank you guys so much for being a part of it. Tim, thank you so much for coming back. And we hope we can find Frank Funk, because he's missing. We have no idea where he is. You've heard of Where's Waldo? Well, where's Frank? We'll hopefully find him. And thank you guys for joining us for another episode of the Think Different podcast.
Peace out.